Hello everyone. So today is yet another first for my channel. So I'm going to be reviewing my first bullet journal that I've done on this channel so far. It's only one of two that I own. I didn't start doing these until I started doing this blog. I liked them. I just never really had a reason to bullet journal or anything like that until I really got going in this blog. So back when I first started this, I was trying to find a way to keep track of what I was doing, some of the notes for the products that I had going at the time, and I just couldn't. I had what are they called? The lab notebooks. Those big. I think they're A4 size, standard letter size notebooks. And I just didn't like carrying something that big around. I didn't like having it in my backpack. I didn't like pulling it out to write on it. So I wanted to find something a little bit smaller, and A5 is half the size of A4. So this one seemed to fit the bill pretty well. The standard bullet journals I liked a lot. I figured, hey, why not find something that I'd be able to review on the blog? It's something that I'd be able to write with, and we go from there. So I didn't want to get anything like the Leuchtturm or the Moleskin because those are just far too common. I wanted something that I could review that people hadn't done before. So I thought, I'm just going to search around on Amazon and see what I can find. And so this is what I came across. As you can see, it's a dot grid journal. This is my first one that I've had with this style, and I liked it a lot. I like that you can kind of box things off a little bit easier. It's a little bit more easy to structure and all of that. So right off, right off the bat, I did enjoy this journal. I like the cover. I'll get into the cover or this construction a little bit later. The paper seemed to write very smooth. So this was my first nice quality journal, and it's fairly cheap for a nice journal. But I liked it right off the bat. It seemed to write. The paper was smooth with a variety of pens and pencils. It didn't seem to get all scratchy like some of the cheaper journals that I've had, and it worked well with fountain pens and ballpoint pens and mechanical pencils and everything in between. So it did well. When I first got this, I was using my Jinhao X750, which is a fairly wet writer, and it did seem to work pretty well with that. It didn't really have much bleed through or any problems. The only problem that I've really found with it as far as bleed through or feathering is if I use a glass dip pen, and I'll show you that a little bit later. So as I began writing more with it, and I think you can kind of see it on the page that I'm on, you can see my writing on the opposite page. So this isn't like the back of this page. This is the opposite page that you can see through. I think that's partly due to me buying the version with 70 GSM paper. As I said, this was my first journal and I didn't really know too much about paper weights and all that fun jazz, but I learned pretty quick after I got this. This one is available in 120 GSM paper, and so I think that will solve that problem. I did buy since I like doing this for my blog, I thought I'd get a bullet journal for work so I could keep track of everything that I was doing, and that one came with 120 GSM paper, and I don't seem to have that problem. But I mean, I think that's my fault as compared to something that a manufacturer would be at fault for, because this is good quality paper. But the downside is even pencil markings tend to show through even if they're on the next color page. So let's get into some different pens and how they write on it. So this is a Pilot Precise V5. I've got a really bad setup for doing this video, but I will make do. So Pilot Precise. And I reviewed these guys a couple weeks ago, so go through my videos if you want to see my review of a disposable pen. I'll go on the back side and show you what it looks like, but that is a rollerball pen. It seems to write very well on that. This is a Zebra Sarasa Grand. And these pens, so this is like the this is the nice pen version of the Zebra Sarasa. It's not disposable, and so it's for those of you who want like a nice pen with the writing experience of the Zebra Sarasa. And this is a Fisher Space Pen Cap-O-Matic, so this one also seems to write well. I'm going to let me change the setting a little bit so hopefully it'll zoom in a little bit better for you guys. So you can see that they write well on it. Oh, I was also going to do, I only have one fountain pen filled right now because I tend to only use one at a time, because I found that given that I use a variety of other pens, I don't always get to my fountain pens, and I've had them dry out before, and that's not a fun experience. So this is a Schaefer VFM, pretty cheap model. I'll be reviewing it eventually, but it's just a cheap, nice fountain pen. It only has the standard international cartridge in it. I don't know the brand because when I bought my Nemesine pens, they just sent me a ton of them. So I figured I'd use them in that. So since I don't have a couple fountain pens put together, what I was going to do, because I did say it was a problem with it, is I've got my glass dip pen here, just a cheap model I got off Amazon. And I was going to do, hopefully I don't make too big of a mess doing this. I've got some diamine ox blood here. I figured I'd do a couple of the standard fountain pen brand inks. So this is diamine ox blood. So this does seem a little scratchier with the dip pen, but that's probably because the glass dip pen is, well, like it says, it's glass. So I'm not too worried about that. So maybe you can see it on the video. Try to zoom in for you and focus. It's pretty thick. It is starting to feather, especially on the D. It doesn't look like you're going to be able to get too much of that detail on the video, but here in a minute I'll flip it over. So to get back out, this is Yamaguri by Pilot Iroshizuku. It's a nice brown ink. I don't think I've used a dip pen with this ink yet, so let's see. This will be a new one for me too. So Pilot Yamaguri. I'm not writing too well with this today, but that is a-okay. So let's see. Ooh, I did not write a T after Pilot. It's early morning and apparently I'm not doing well with this today, but that's okay. So zooming in, you can see that it is starting to feather there as well. Again, these are very, very wet writers in general, so you're going to want some thicker paper anyway. And just for good measure, I wanted to do some Waterman ink because this is a pretty standard black ink that just about everyone has or has used. So this one seems to actually be writing better. So let's give that a minute and see if it will feather for us. And then I'll flip over the page so you guys can see that it does bleed through on the back and what it looks like for the variety of pens. So you can see that the Pilot went through. It's not feathering though, but you can still read it. The Zebra Sarasota Grand, same thing as the Pilot. The Pilot actually looks like it is bleeding through a little bit now that I look at it. And the Fisher Space Pen, obviously no bleeding. That's a roller or a ballpoint, so it's going to use a lot thicker ink that dries a lot more quickly. Fountain pen did well, no bleed through. But when I get to the dip pen, the Waterman did the best. But the Pilot ink and the Diamond ink, it looks like the Pilot ink actually did the worst. So quite a bit of bleed through. Again, I think this is more due to me buying the 70 GSM paper rather than the 120 GSM. And for a couple bucks, I think it's $11 for the, oh, and you can see right on the other side the ink didn't dry all the way in it. Put it on the other page. But again, that's going to be a problem with no matter what paper you use because it doesn't dry as quickly. So to get into the construction of the book, let me get the setup again to where I have a higher view for you all here. So it's a hardback PU leather. It does actually feel like an old library book actually rather than fake leather. It's got a notebook or a pocket in the back and a leather or a elastic strap with a little bookmark so you can keep track of where you're going. It'd be nice if they had a couple more of these, but you can buy some with that for it. It's got 224 pages of the 70 GSM ivory paper. I like the ivory because it's a little bit softer when you're looking at it rather than bleached white paper. It only weighs 0.17 pounds. So that's it for this journal. Please comment below if you have any questions for anything that I missed. And remember to subscribe to my channel. That'd be greatly appreciated to help me grow this. And yeah, oh, one thing that I did forget to mention, that you can see it's starting to warp a little bit and start to get a little convex. So I don't know why it would be doing that, but when I'm writing it tends to rock a little bit, and that seems to get pretty annoying. But I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it's doing that, because my other one hasn't done that yet. But you can see it's a little convex. It's not too bad, but it is a little more annoying than anything else. Let me double check. I think that's everything that I've got. So comment below if I missed anything, and so I can answer your questions, or so I can do a better journal review in the future. But again, this is the Jarbo Dot Grid Journal for your reference. Thanks again, everyone. Hope you have a great day.